Thank you, Emily. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Theresa Fieberts. I am so happy to be here with you this morning. I am so happy to have these doors behind me open. Oh my gosh, love it. There's just a little tweak in the weather, and it's enough for me to feel like it's fall here in Sarasota, Florida. Yeah. We've had a really great month. So we're wrapping it up today. And if you want to create more love and more harmony in your life, if you want to create more love and more harmony in your relationships, heal with your body and your mind, and see that for your friends and your family, well, you're in the right place, because we are loving out loud this month. And as David Hawkins told us, there is not a higher vibe than love, right? So we are vibing high with love. And we've had our tithe recipients here every Sunday this month that we've been introducing to you and letting you know. And we've got another one here this afternoon, this morning. And we're showcasing that Spirit's working through them individually and their organizations, being Spirit's presence in the world. And that's really exciting. And it's healing what they're doing and what we are doing. Healing ideas in the mind, in consciousness, around poverty, around who's entitled and who's not, around homelessness, around unaddressed mental illness. Those kinds of ideas, racism, discriminations, unequal opportunities. And while we've maybe not seemed to have addressed them directly, we're doing what we do in the science of mind, right? We're working with our consciousness. And I started the month with Ho'oponopono, which, if you remember, if you were here on the first Sunday of the month, Dr. Hugh Lin, who took this ancient Hawaiian healing practice and updated it a little bit with his work at the Hospital for the Criminally Insane, told us, which is exactly in line with what our founder Ernest Holmes has told us, that 100% of what goes on in the world, hear me, 100% is what? My responsibility. It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility, because we are creating life from the inside out, are we not? We know this in our own personal lives. Like, if you're in a grumpy mood and you have a bad day, you can reflect at the end of the day and recognize your part in that, can't you? But when we see homelessness on the street, do we stop and think, I've created that? No, we don't. And did you directly do it? No. This isn't about shame or guilt. It's about recognizing that we are 100% responsible for this moment and where we go forward, how we go forward. We are empowered to create change in our personal lives, in the lives of our friends and our family, and in our society. We are empowered. And this month, we're recognizing that we're empowered by love. We're empowered by a love that is unlimited, that is everywhere available, that is here, now, imminent, and beyond, transcendent, beyond any little issue that we may be dealing with, personally or as a society. Ho'oponopono, to make things right. So I'm going to ask you to join me right here, right now, to make things right. And you choose what it is that you wish to make right now. And then join me in knowing that I speak within. I speak to the divine beyond. I speak to that power and that presence, to that life force energy that brought me here, that which is within this vehicle, this spiritual temple, this body. And for each of you to take that idea within yourself, that you're speaking to your higher self, to the God self, to spirit, to the creator, whatever you choose to call that life force energy, that creative intelligence. Join me in Ho'oponopono again this morning. For what I know is there is that intelligence. I am surrounded by it, immersed in it, made of it, filled with it. And oh my God, I love it. I love you. I love this thing called life. I love that I am empowered. I love that I am a co-creator with this thing called life. I love you. I'm sorry for all the times that I forget this truth. I'm sorry for all the ways that I become absent-minded. I'm sorry for every time I forgot that this is a spiritual universe. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me and make this moment anew, refreshed, to create again. Thank you. Thank you for this reciprocal nature of life, for the promise of a new day, for the uplift of love that is expansive, unending, forever here, present, for the love that heals. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Continue this within yourself for a moment. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. What I know for myself right here and right now, and for each and every person in this room, for everyone listening in at any time, is that in this moment, I am made anew. In this moment, this transformative moment, I claim a higher reality for myself and for others. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm so grateful to live and have my being in a loving and supportive spiritual universe, and so it is. We have
right. Yay!
Emily
2 times
Ross.
in a row.
Yay!
I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here during Love Month. I don't know a lot of things. There's a lot of things I'm not sure about, but I do know what love is. So I'm really happy to be a part of this month. So at my gigs lately, it's like this new thing where people ask this awesome question. They're like, what's your favorite song to play? And I think that's a really nice question to ask. And I always say it's always the song that I just learned, because I play for so many hours. It's awesome. I have a great job. But I get kind of bored. And so whenever I can learn a new song, that's my favorite song to sing. So this is my favorite song right now. So this is Blue Skies. You might know this one. Irving Berlin from 1927. So that's pretty cool. All right. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing their song, nothing but blue skies all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by when you're in love. My, how they fly, oh, blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing their song, nothing but blue skies from now on. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right, noticing the days hurrying by when you're in love. My, how they fly, oh, blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see.
Thank you, Emily. That was perfect. Good morning. I'm Jennifer Johnston, a member of your Board of Trustees. And the reading this morning is from A Course in Miracles Made Easy by Alan Cohen, which I think is a great guide to how to live in love. I invite you to close your eyes and listen to this passage on relationships. In a holy relationship, you do not see yourself as lacking, and you do not bestow your partner with the power to save or damn. You regard both of you as whole, together to discover, magnify, and celebrate the gifts you bring to each other and the world. You recognize that your source of happiness resides inside of you, and you can choose to feel regardless of your partner's behavior. Your partner is not the screen onto which you project your unmet needs and upsets, but instead a cherished companion whom you enfold with ever deeper appreciation. Your purpose together is not to offset each other's deficiencies, but to honor and express your already existing sufficiency. You do not use the relationship to berate each other, bring one another down, or stuff both of you into suffocating boxes. Instead, it is a vehicle to bring forth the best in both of you and fan your light so it shines as brightly as possible. In a holy relationship, you seek to potentiate each other's joy rather than wrest well-being from your one and only supplier. God is your supply, and your sustenance can come through many avenues, including but not limited to a partner. The love you share runs far deeper than romance, chemistry, personality preferences, or a political alliance. You are not simply two people coming together to offset each other's emptiness. You are God discovering yourself through a beloved. And a second excerpt that has stuck with me. I read it weeks ago and it keeps running through my mind. I saw an interview with a Tibetan Buddhist monk who had been imprisoned by the Chinese for many years. The interviewer asked him, "Were you ever in any real danger?" "Yes," the monk answered, "several times." "Were those the times you were being tortured?" "No, those were the moments when I became angry." The monk defined danger not as the loss of physical freedom. He defined danger as the loss of spiritual peace. You and I may not be ready to hold the light in a concentration camp or in the aftermath of an atomic explosion, but Thanksgiving dinner with your family would be a good place to start. If a certain relative really bugs you, consider that their behavior is not an attack. It is simply data, something that someone does. Uncle Morty's abrasive jokes are a sign that the poor guy must be in a great deal of pain. His unkind words are a veiled call for love. His jokes cannot hurt you unless you imbue them with the power to hurt. You are unassailable, connected to the source of life, no matter what Uncle Morty says or does. If you can come to the awareness that in your defenselessness, your safety lies, you have graduated from the Uncle Morty School of Awakening. Either he will go away or he will no longer be able to ruin your Thanksgiving. In either case, you are free.
I loved both of those so much. Thank you. So my partner and I, we went on our honeymoon, and we were gone for a month and a half, which is just a long time, and it was so beautiful, and it was great. And so we went to Tennessee and North Carolina, and during that time, we listened to a lot of old country, and that's because Matthew, when he likes something, he doesn't just really like something, he goes down the entire rabbit hole. He has to learn the entire thing, and he takes me with him. I mean, but I'm interested. It's very inspiring, because usually I just like something, and I'm like, that's cool, but he has to learn the entire anthology. So one of the groups that he discovered is the Carters. It was a very first country group, and they wrote this song, Keep on the Sunny Side. And so I'm going to sing this song. And I'm playing at the Fruitville Grove Pumpkin Festival coming up in October, and I'm trying to learn a lot of like old country because it really reminds me of like pumpkins and fall and things like that. So there's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way if we keep on the sunny side of life. The storm and its fury broke today, crushing hopes that we cherish so dear. Clouds and storms will in time pass away. The sun again shine bright and be clear. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way if you keep on the sunny side of life. Let us greet with a song of hope each day. Though the moments be cloudy or fair, let us trust in our Savior always, to keep us, everyone, in His care. Everybody, keep on sunny side, always on sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way. If you keep on the sunny side of life. If you keep on the sunny side of life. If you keep on the sunny side of life. Thank you.
Am I going to be accused of redundancy if I say again this week, oh, I love this place? I love this place. I love you, Emily. I have so much fun doing what we do. It's great fun for me. Thanks for being here with me. Last week, I had what I felt like was a moment with you. A moment with you when I asked, what is the consciousness that creates homelessness? What is the consciousness that creates homelessness? Now, I could have lots of ideas that I could sit down around a table, conference table, and discuss with you. You know, as I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, you know, I have a real estate license. I've had it since 1982. I was on the Sarasota Affordable Housing Advisory Commission for years. I worked for years with CASL, the Community Assisted Supported Living, as a board member and as their realtor for years. So I have lots I could say about it. But spiritually is how I want to talk to you about it, right? What is the consciousness that creates homelessness? Separation. Separation. The idea of duality, the idea of division, the idea of opposition, the idea of separateness, the behaviors of othering. That isn't me. Remember I said last week, we look like we're not connected. We are. It is an illusion. We are energy. It is all energy. We are energy in form, vibrating at different levels. Different levels, right? Okay. And how do I know that? Because I know when I feel love. And I know what it feels like when I feel love. And I know what it feels like when I'm not feeling love. Right? And you do too. That's how we know. That's how we know. So I have a couple stories I want to share with you this morning. There are these adorable little books called Pathways of Being that are a compilation of articles from the Science of Mind magazines from over the years. There's different ones for different years. This is 1927 to 1977. I happened to yesterday, of course, pick this up, open it up. I've never read these. Now, I have a bunch of old magazines, and I go through them. So here's a story, Why Not Try Love, written by Star Daly in 1957. So why not try love? This is a story about a widowed mother who has a 10-year-old son who, she says, was born a criminal. Yeah, he didn't have a conscience. He was born without a conscience, she says. He's psychopathic personality. He has homicidal impulses. He's 10 years old. So she goes for spiritual counseling. And the spiritual counselor says to her, why don't you try love? And she says, I do love my son. Of course I love my son. I'm fearful for my son. well, why don't you try a love that's not judgmental? Well, how can I not judge him? I see what he's doing. I'm fearful for where his future is going with this behavior. Well, why not try love? And what she's talking about is not a common love, but an extraordinary love, an uncommon love. A different kind of love, a creative, redemptive love that casts out fear and prejudices, precludes negative judgment. So after some more conversation, she decides that she's going to give this a try. She's going to give it a try. This extraordinary love, right? And the spiritual counselor invites her to become disinterested in her son's behavior. Become disinterested in his behavior. Yeah. And she tells her that this kind of love is available to everyone. You don't have to be a special person, special kind of person, that everybody can have extraordinary love and experience extraordinary love, for it's nothing more or less than steadfast goodwill in action. Steadfast goodwill in action. If you have goodwill for your boy, you'll not project thoughts of ill will to him. You'll not criticize, you'll not judge, you'll not condemn. See God's image in him. Know that God made your son. Remember I say, we're immersed in, we're surrounded by, we're filled with, we're made of, we're brought here by. That kind of awareness of your son is what she's being guided to do. So, she did it. Took her 6 months to effect a change. Why did it take that long? Simply because it took her that long to bring about the necessary changes in her own consciousness. In her own consciousness, right? But they had been taking place all along. There were little shifts. She wasn't noticing the little slight differences that were happening within her. But then there was an accumulation of change that had been quietly going on in her objective mind because, of course, she was intentionally doing this. She was conscious that she was doing this. That's her objective mind. And her subjective mind was responding to it. And suddenly, there was a burst forth from within her of a new experience. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. She was doing her affirmations. She was doing her daily practice. And she suddenly believed what she was saying to herself. She suddenly believed what she was saying to herself. And she knew then that her prayer was answered. What actually happened in her consciousness at that decisive moment? Well, her heart caught up with her head, is one way we could say it, right? When she finally felt the truth of what she had been saying. That could be another way to say it. This person writes, it was double witness. When she felt what she declared, she believed. When she felt it, it was double witness. I like that. I like that. And the truth became a firm conviction. And she was promptly released from any further fear, anxiety, or doubt about her son. And almost immediately, the boy's criminal tendencies, impulses began to change. He steadily grew into a balanced, healthy-minded youngster. Who was the problem? Who was the problem? Was it the boy or the mother? This brought me to tears. The mother was the problem, and the boy was the possibility. Can you feel that? We are all possibility. We are spiritual substance in form. We are all infinite possibility. Every single one of us, no matter what we did yesterday or the day before, no matter what our childhood was, no matter what color our skin is, no matter who we love, we are infinite possibility, yes? Yep. So she solved her problem. She solved race consciousness, or at least she's putting into the collective consciousness that Jung talked about a truth, a value, an uplift, a higher vibe, yeah? Yeah, this is good stuff. This is the uncommon complete love. So why don't we try that? There's another story in here. This one's from 1940. Divine Justice, written by Robert Swan. And he talks about, we think of justice as being in the court system, law, that's justice. There might be men in suits or robes and, gavels. That's justice, right? Or the scales. Lady Justice and her balance of scales. So divine justice, divine judgment. Justice, not judgment. Justice, divine justice. We can have in our relationships, thank you, that was beautiful, Jennifer. In our relationships, in our home, in our social life, in our greater community. But first, he writes, we must cultivate the idea of justice in our own consciousness, right? It always starts with us. It always starts with us. And that really is the good news, because it empowers us. It's the good news. So, divine justice is not based on an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Divine justice, instead, is about forgiveness. 70 times 7, and gives unceasingly of more love and goodness than we could ever imagine. You can't imagine how I felt when I read that after introducing Ho'oponopono at the beginning of this month. I never know exactly where I'm going during the month, and then to pick up a book and to read that's Spirit's presence. Spirit's presence. So, it's not about pointing out the faults of other people or tell them how they should live. Have you ever tried that, by the way? To change somebody else? Tell them what's wrong with them and how they can fix it? Let me tell you how to fix it. But we can reform ourselves, and by that process, we may perhaps so influence others through our own thoughts and deeds that they will be helped in reforming themselves. We cannot promote justice for ourselves by condemning the other person for an injustice. We must make friends with the spirit of divine justice, which arises out of right thinking, love, and constant goodwill. There's that word again. Goodwill, or that phrase, goodwill. So this is a story about a young woman who's working in an office, and she's given an assistant from another office that comes in to work alongside of her. And boy, these two are rubbing against each other. Not in a good way. Not in a good way. They are not getting along. Sparks fly all the time. It's antagonistic. The entire relationship is antagonistic. So she finally realized that she can't allow that to go on, right? And she realizes that the work was within herself. She says, I had to do my own mental house cleaning, right? She got that it was in her consciousness, right? And so she reminded herself that it wasn't about blaming. So what would she do anytime she was feeling that? She had to have a way to remind herself. So she would say, be still and know. Be still and know. Multiple times during the day, be still and know. Reminding herself of where the power lied was in her, right? It wasn't about what the other person was doing. Yeah. And so this didn't take 6 months. This one was several days. After several days, a sense of love, joy, and justice swept over her whole being, and she realized that she had overcome all her confusion and disagreeable feelings. And the assistant came up to her desk and sat down and started chatting with her like nothing had ever happened negative between them. And the relationship was completely healed, and they went on to have a lovely work relationship. Isn't that something else? Let us always be the ones who are willing to forgive, who are willing to look for and be the givers of divine justice. Yeah. And what happens, see, is when we do that, when we just do the work in ourselves, that ho'oponopono, or however you choose to do it, we don't have to fix the thing because Spirit does that. Then through us and all the people around us, because we're lifted in love in such a way that it becomes our action. We're moving from that consciousness of love all the time. So that is the intention for the Centers for Spiritual Living. These have been on our table, our info table, since the first day we opened our doors, January 2019. I want to read this. It's our global vision. And I want you to think into it, personally and collectively. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as expressions of God. We see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. We envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. We envision a world where each and every person has enough food, a home, a sense of belonging, a world of peace and harmony, enfranchisement, and justice. We envision a world in which resources are valued, cared for, and grown, where there is generous and continuous sharing of these resources. We envision a worldwide culture in which forgiveness, whether for errors, injustices, or debts, is the norm. It's how we show up. Clear. We envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. We envision a world that works for everyone and all of creation. Imagine the effect in the world, in your relationships, in your body. If we really believed this, owned it, walked it each and every moment of every day, if everyone did. That's the consciousness. That's the consciousness that heals, that liberates us individually and collectively. That's it. That's it. So with that, I would like to invite Megan Howe up. for her to talk about the work that she is doing in the world. How am I supposed to follow that up? You got it, girl. Yes.
It's so lovely to see everybody. Oh, it's right here. Can everybody hear me? Wonderful. I'll try to project too. So, I prepared my thoughts on paper so I don't go too far astray. So, good morning. My name is Megan Howell. I'm the executive director and founder of Second Heart Homes. It's a gift to be here today with you and share my light and some brutal truths. So as we're talking about consciousness and how it perpetuates homelessness and how it perpetuates solutions too, the truth is that all the money in the world is not going to end homelessness. If someone gave 1,000 houses to the over 1,000 people in need in Sarasota and Manatee, it still wouldn't solve the issue. It would be wonderful if it was that simple, but unfortunately it's not. Much of society and concerned citizens expect a simple solution to something like this that is so multifaceted and multi-generational. What major problems are solved with a simple stroke of a pen? Not much. Not prolonged, at least. So, you are dealing with people, not just bodies in beds, okay? And people have unique issues and strengths, and love and joy and light. So when you're dealing with people, you have mental illness, you have mental health, you have abuse, you have neglect, you have lack of support system, poverty, poor life skills, addiction, disease, disability, age, socioeconomic factors, and so much more. I know I checked some of those boxes, and I got more problems than that. So that's just a small capture. I'm sure everybody else does too. So, also, the biggest thing, one of our residents told me, the worst part of being homeless is being lonely. Think about that and what that does to your spirit and how you interact with other people, your confidence every day. One of our female residents told me the worst part of her day in the morning was trying to draw on her eyebrows, something so simple. She had to find an empty storefront to look in their reflection when nobody was looking and start her day off with being embarrassed. And then people looking down upon her, whether they love her or not. Imagine what that does to chip away at your faculties. I don't have to be in the heat for too long to start talking to myself, just saying. But anyways, I digress. So, homelessness is lonely, and it's on display for everybody to see. Everything you got going on is public knowledge, right? And that's where judgment happens. By a show of hands, who thinks I own a kitten? Who thinks I own a dog? Show of hands. Okay, well, you're wrong. I own neither. That didn't work out so well, but you know. Whatever. Anyway, so it's not all bad stuff I'm going to talk about. So our mission is to revive the dignity of the homeless and mental health population through housing, support, and love. That love piece is critical. That love is belonging. That love is overcoming the trauma and the pain and feeling like you can put your best foot forward. Turning that page on homelessness and being part of the community, assimilating into who you've always been, but life's been a little rough. So, we believe everybody deserves a safe, predictable home environment where they can thrive. That's why we provide housing with supportive services to homeless single adults with mental illness. For anyone who doesn't know my story, I was homeless when I was 4 years old with my mother and autistic brother. We escaped a domestic violence situation. I don't remember much because I was 4, but I think about my mother's mental fortitude to deal with that, and I'm just blown away. So I was also a waitress at Patrick's, so I might have waited on many of you. And I met a homeless man who was living on the sidewalk outside of the restaurant. He had been homeless for 25 years and suffering from schizophrenia. He had very complicated viewpoints that were based in his reality and maybe not mine. Who knows, maybe he is the missing Kennedy baby. I can't confirm or deny. So, after a much longer story, I helped him off the streets and thought, if that was the impossible, there's so much more. And that man helped me realize my potential and my purpose to help people suffering on the streets. Based on the point in time survey that's conducted annually, the best case scenario is that there are 1,000 homeless people within Sarasota and Manatee counties. That's awful. That's not counting people who are living in a car, such as I did with my mother and brother, who are in the hospital without a place to discharge to, who are staying on someone's couch or in another institution with nowhere else to go. So without our program, that homeless number would increase by 4.9%. That's wild. So the need for our services and community support has never been greater. Without proper support and resources, many individuals can become trapped in a cycle of poverty and despair. Mental illness is the leading cause of homelessness, and homelessness is the leading cause of mental illness. Isn't that something? Do you know what every single homeless person has in common? They were somebody's child. Right or wrong, that's what happened. So, our clients are vulnerable and need ongoing support to maintain their stability. They have worked so hard to get there. And although it's encouraged, moving out and into your own apartment is not our main goal, because our residents face two very unique challenges: persistent mental illness and a housing market they can't possibly compete in. So we become a forever family, if that's what they'd like. If they want to get their own place, then we shape our case management services to help them identify, develop, and achieve that goal. So, why would you kick out a good tenant after years of good tenancy? Why? Especially if they need that support and love. Today, we have 8 homes that serve 49 individuals coming off the street that have a mental health diagnosis. Yeah, you can, I heard someone yoo-hoo. That was good. Yeah. And we take no government funding. We have no mortgages. And we also have another home under contract right now. We'll be doing home number 10 too this year. So we take only individual contributions and private sector funding. So that makes you part of the solution too. So what we provide, we purchase these homes and transform them into beautiful, art-inspired, safe places that provide support to our residents so they can begin to rebuild their lives. In these homes, our residents receive care from our care managers that help with the daily challenges of life. I joke, once a bed opens up, I'm going there. So I have 4 personal assistants to help me with those daily struggles and make sure I don't go astray. So they help with things like obtaining a primary care physician, a psychiatrist. We pay for 10 sessions of therapy through our partners at Samaritan Counseling. We work on tools for maintaining sobriety, learning computer skills, how to take care of a home, how to clean the baseboards, how much is too much for the washing machine. Swiffering 101. You know, you've been homeless for 25 years. It's not that easy to figure out how to use one, okay? And so much more. how to have confidence, personal fashion, how to time manage, proactive communication skills. Again, what is love? It's not just popular song or, a wonderful thought. It's enduring. It's how do we work with people through the tough times and celebrate the good times and make it everywhere and through, right? And that's that proactive communication. How to obtain legal documents. One of our residents, she became homeless at 68 when her husband died of cancer. 68. She was given 10 days to get out. She lost her rock, never a moment to grieve. And when she came into our program, turns out she was an in-family adoption when she was 3. Back then they wrote it in the back of a Bible, right? How do you get your birth certificate and all these things that when you're homeless, you lose everything about your life, time after time after time after time. Again, people are looking down upon you. And you've lost all your stuff again because it's raining and so much more. I could do 10,000 words on that, but I won't. So we went from one man on the sidewalk to 49 beds across our 2-county program, along with 6 full-time staff and about 35 volunteers. That man changed my life and so many more. So our work is far from done. Our goal is to have at least 16 homes open by 2026, and we need the community's help to achieve that. So let's talk a little bit about, before I wrap up, what you can do as we're talking about consciousness, right? First of all, the easiest thing you can do is write a check. That's the easiest, right? So, second thing you can do, volunteer your skills. And I don't know where Tom's at. I saw him earlier. There he is. He has volunteered some of his skills to help us, and just without question. Maybe you don't have a skill, that's okay. But when you're thinking about what you can do to be part of the solution, then that is that collective consciousness that we need. You may not have an answer for every problem every time, but think about it, right? And then the easiest thing too is show love. When you see someone on the streets, smile at them. Smiling at them is not going to hold you accountable to being their case manager and solving all their issues. That's how I became friends with the gentleman. I sat down on the sidewalk with him so we could look at each other eye to eye and talk about the Kennedys and Tesla return from outer space and other things. So just think about the king you see in everybody else. See them as just that, as a peer. This could be your uncle, your brother, your friend, on and on and on. And just show love. And remember, it does not tie you to figuring out their life plan. But when you have a moment that someone is real with you, then that's the chance that you need to take. Because when that man presented himself in the hospital, when he went missing off that sidewalk, I knew his real name. I checked the jail, he wasn't there. I found him in the hospital. And right place, right time, he trusted me because I treated him as a loved one. And so, in solidarity, we all can't fix homelessness, but together we can certainly try. So, thank you. Yay!
So Megan's organization, Second Heart Homes, is our 4th quarter tithe recipient. So we're getting ready to go into our 4th quarter. Keep that in mind when you put the money in the basket, or however you pay us. 10% is we send back out. So keep that consciousness of love going. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we have Emily.
I'm going to sing a song I wrote now. This one's called Beauty in Your Mind, and it's kind of tied to Jennifer's story that she was saying about trying to find light when you're in imprisonment. And sometimes you can be imprisoned by your mind, like Just some days I wake up and it's just super negative up here. And all I can think is just, oh, the world just sucks. Everything sucks. Oh, God. And so I have a couple tools that I use to try to get myself out of that. The first one is, what can I do for someone else? 100% of the time, that works. I go, okay, who needs help? How do I take myself out of this and just put myself where I'm needed? The second one is, I close my eyes and I imagine that I'm just in a white padded room with nothing else around me at all. I know that sounds crazy. It's kind of crazy. But what would that be like to see white and to have absolutely nothing and just be completely bored? And then I open up my eyes and I try to see all of the beautiful things around me. And I'm so lucky because I live in this beautiful place that most days in Florida, it's a big, beautiful blue sky, great clouds, so many beautiful trees. And if I just sit and I look and I try to find the beautiful things, in my mind, it becomes a more beautiful place rather than this like ugly, negative place. So that's why this is called Beauty in Your Mind. Because like a flower is beautiful, but it can't grow if there's no room for it to grow. So just like your negative thoughts, the beauty in your mind, it can't grow unless you take out those negative thoughts. Anyways, that's what this is about. Just wanted to give you a little description. Why can't we get by? Just looking at the clouds we see with solid ground beneath our feet. 'Cause life, it don't need to be so trying. We're all caught up in what's missing, not thinking of the things still alive. It's not right. Move towards all the things that make you smile while you've got time. Just sit and watch the world, and then you'll find beauty in your mind. The stars still seem to shine, though they're dying, they'll still catch your eye. You're looking past in time. Well, I've been feeling kinda dry. So if these clouds, they wanna rain on me, well, I'll still sit here happily and watch as people passing by get mad at all the storms they see. They look for ways to get angry and sigh. It's not right. Move towards all the things that make you smile while you've got time. Just sit and watch the world, and then you'll find beauty in your mind. The waves still crash in time. So when you cry, remember they're alright. The world still turns tonight. ask why. Oh, how do I get by? Well, I'm just looking at the clouds I see with solid ground beneath my feet.
Thank you so much, Emily. It's beautiful. And now it's the time in our service for loving out loud by giving back to our source of good, to the source of what empowers us in our spiritual journey in life, and that is our monetary offering to this center. So if you would, please just take in your hand whatever you're giving in the basket today, or if you're giving virtually through your automatic online banking, please just take that into your consciousness and know with me that this divine gift given in this loving consciousness goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper, and the divine flow returns it to me multiplied abundantly. I give great thanks for this. Allow it to be so, and so it is. Bobby.
Thank you, Jim, and let's sing together. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you so much. A couple of announcements for you this morning. First of all, our newsletter comes out each week via email. And if you are not on our email list, please feel free to sign up for it on the table next to the front door, or you can go onto our Facebook page or our website, which is CSLCulturalCoast.org. If you need prayer support, you can fill out a prayer request form over at the screen here to my right and put it in the box, and you'll be kept in positive affirmative prayer for this week. You can also email those requests to us at prayer@CSLCulturalCoast.org, and know that you'll be kept in positive affirmative prayer for the coming week by our team of practitioners. The Spiritual Living Circle that I facilitate each Wednesday night continues. It's from 7 to 8 p.m. by Zoom. We discuss an article from the current month's Science of Mind magazine. And if you're interested in joining up with that, please see me after the service, or you can email me at the address in the newsletter. Our own Susie Blake is giving a workshop 2 weeks from today, and that is called Journey in Journaling, and there is a flyer for that on the table to my left. Please pick one up on your way out, and yes, give her a hand. It's going to be right after the service 2 weeks from today from 12:30 to 2:30. There's a suggested love offering, and you can bring your lunch, and we'll start right away after that. Okay, I'm going to invite Jennifer back up to talk a little bit about membership.
Thank you, Jim. This is the exciting time of year when we hope that everyone who wants to be a part of this community signs up to be a member. As a member, you have lots of benefits, which are listed on the paper over there on my left. So sitting on that table is a way to sign up if you haven't joined us before. If you are a member and any of your contact information has changed, you can let us know. Reverend Theresa will send out an email this week for you to be able to update any information or to join our community, which we hope you will, because the best benefit is having this spiritual family. And also just a reminder that Megan Howell with Second Heart Homes has the table over there. So if you'd like to introduce yourself or learn more about her work, she'll be with us. Thanks.
Thanks, Jennifer. And give her a hand. And just a reminder, we do have goodies and coffee, tea after the service, so please join us and socialize with us a little bit after the service. And now Emily has our closing song.
Yay! Thank you. So, I finally have a newsletter, and I would love for you to be a part of it if you're not like a social media person, because sometimes, like I'm a social media person, but I really don't go on every day. So if you're an email kind of person and you want to be sent a newsletter once a month, it's going to have my gig schedule and just like a little bit about what I'm up to. So if you're interested, I'll just have this and I can add you to my email list. So just come up to me afterwards. All right, so my mama's birthday was September 21st. And September 21st is September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, if you guys know that song. Do you remember the 21st night of September? Love was changing the minds of pretenders while chasing the clouds away. Our hearts were ringing in the key that our souls were singing as we danced in the night. Remember how the stars stole the night away. Say that you remember. Dancing in September. Never was a cloudy day. My thoughts are with you, holding hands with your heart to see you. Only blue talk of love, remember how we knew love was here to stay. Now December found the love that we shared in September. Only blue talk of love, remember true love we shared today. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.